Good afternoon, New Orleans. This is Michelle Godin along with Tom Coates. We are Baldy and The Blonde here every Wednesday at 4, just talking about the most uplifting topics. Right, Tom?
Oh, yeah. Well, always uplifting. Government tyranny. What could go wrong?
Nothing.
And what do we always say? So much tyranny.
So little time. Yes, indeed.
We can talk about this stuff all day, every day. And we do. And the problems never go away. I guess they don't listen to our show.
I don't think so.
We have it all solved.
I thought we did, in our first iteration of this show from 2008 to 2012, I thought we solved it. Well, apparently not. So the things that I think sounded really crazy back then have all come true. So here we are, and we're going to start off today talking about, apparently, you can look at Western Europe to see sort of where we're headed. And we talk a lot about this, but right now you can get arrested in England for, saying something in a tweet that might upset somebody who is Muslim or something else. And meanwhile, the people that actually beat the hell out of other people and are Muslims don't go to jail. So I don't know. But they've invited an invasion, much like Joe Biden did and Kamala Harris did during their 4 unfortunate years. Literally invited an invasion, which, of course, they pretended they couldn't solve and needed new laws. And it took Trump, 2-3 weeks to shut it down because we had the laws. We just weren't enforcing it. So there's no more illegal invasion in this country. But you will see now that Keir Starmer, I'll let you take it from there, Tom, and explain where things are headed, because what you see in Western Europe is definitely the blueprint for what the lefties would like to do to us here. In fact, we're going to talk about a conference that was held in London last month, at which Pete Buttigieg was one of the attendees, along with JB Pritzker. Both of them are presidential hopefuls in the future, and they were there. So we're going to talk about that, not because it's just about what's going on in Europe, but it's, pretends badly for us.
Well, and you're right. They would love to have the control here that they have there. That's the globalist agenda. I mean, it's obvious. Look, but let me back up, because you talked about the conference that Keir Starmer was speaking at, and we'll play several of these clips from that. Very disturbing things that he had to say in his speech. So this was about a month ago in London, and I glanced at the agenda and the list of speakers, and it was basically just a convention of hardcore leftist globalists when you look at who was there.
Absolutely.
And out of all the Americans there, the only 2 politicians were the 2 that you mentioned, Buttigieg and Pritzker from Illinois. Everybody else was just ivory tower academic or an unelected bureaucrat who's been an advisor in D.C., in very failed D.C. for many years. But there was you didn't see any conservatives. In fact, the word progressive was spread out throughout their agenda. I mean, you had a chance to look at it a little bit. Would you agree? It's
absolutely. I'm looking,
calming.
Just for example, you had this lady, Megan Shahi, who was the director of the Center for American Progress technology policy. Well, she was one that was advocating for severe censorship in the U.S. In 2023, and including complete quashing of any questioning of elections, is in election denialism. And
right.
Yes, you're not allowed to say elections were rigged or stolen. Now, fortunately, Elon Musk fired her and her entire division, but she's just a prime example of the people that were kind of running the show at this future glimpse of what the lefties would like to do to us, along with also Nita, what's her name? Nira.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, I think, but
she is, but
I don't have it in front of me.
I can't think of her name. Nira somebody. Anyway, she's no good. Never left.
Well, basically a bunch of control freaks. No liberty lovers there.
Not one.
And the organizations that put it on, one's called the Institute for Public Policy Research, and another's called the Center for American Progress Action Fund. So I went and looked up those two organizations. Again, just hardcore leftist organizations.
Right.
So it's important to understand who was there, and exclusively who was there, when we're about to hear what it is that Keir Starmer had to say.
Yes, and this is in response. This is his solution for the problem that he and the lefties created by. This is what they do all the time: create a problem, offer the solution, and pretend they're the savior because they solved the problem that they created. Right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to have a few clips from Keir Starmer, who is the is he the Prime Minister?
He's Prime Minister. Yeah.
Okay. Just a second, it's coming up. This is a clip of Keir Starmer, but I've got a spinning wheel. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
You will all have issues in your own countries, but in Britain, it's illegal migration. And I suspect that may be the same in a number of other countries.
Okay.
Okay, pause there for a second.
Yep.
So he suspects that it might be a problem. So we've been knowing this for years, right? The whole world has been knowing that Western Europe, the culture there has changed, and they've been overrun with illegal migration and legal migration for years. And what's the first thing he says? I suspect it might be the same in some of your other countries. That's hilarious.
Because of course it's the same. That was the plan, right? So, and I mean, London is, England. I just think it's done. But it's they have no commonality of history or purpose anymore, and they have Muslim prayer time 5 times a day in the middle of the streets. It's psychotic. All right, another clip.
Okay. Well, this is one continuous quote.
Yes, but this is the rest of it.
Yeah, just keep it going.
Yeah.
For too many years, it's been too easy for people to come here, slip into the shadow economy, and remain here illegally. Because, frankly, we've been squeamish about saying things that are clearly true.
Okay.
Well, here's my take on that, because they've been squeamish about a lot more than just saying things that are true. They've been squeamish about allowing other people to say things that are clearly true.
That's the citizens
censoring and canceling forever. Nobody gets to say things.
The English citizens who are there legally and have been there for generations are in jail if they say anything protesting the Muslim invasion that Keir Starmer and the progressives, including in America, encouraged and set up. Why? Because it's a way to take down a nation by destabilizing it with an invasion. It's, anybody that studied history knows that. Okay.
Well, they're working on an entire continent, let alone nation, right?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Continuing on with the fabulous Keir Starmer.
It's not just that it's not compassionate left-wing politics to rely on labour that exploits foreign workers and undercuts fair wages, but the simple fact that every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country.
And to be honest, when I first heard this, I'm like, what is he talking about? Has he had some, did he dye his hair and become Trump? What is he saying? But you'll see why he's saying this in a minute. Okay, let's keep rolling.
Yeah, although this is...
we're at 154, so I was going to try to...
Well, we're not going to be able to finish... We're not going to be able to finish everything he has to say. That's the problem with having to go in 10-minute chunks. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, so we will have to... we can move on to the next part of it, but we'll have to finish up on the other side.
Yeah. Okay.
Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them.
Okay, so many things to say about that. The immigration system needs to be fair if they want to maintain the contract that politics is built on. Well, where were you, buddy, when you opened the borders in violation of your own immigration policies? Same with Biden, right? Of course the contract with and trust of the people has been undermined, and you're not on their side, and they do not have a belief that the state can and will work for them. So
well, exactly. And that's my take on it, is we actually could use a large dose of something that undermines people's faith in the government, because they are not on our side. It's good that people are losing faith in them.
Hell yeah, they've given us every reason to do so. And to create a problem and then come in and try to offer a solution as though you're the savior is the Hegelian dialectic, right? Isn't that what that is? And it's ridiculous. They do it all the time.
And we'll hear the solution, the horrific solution.
Wait, don't tell them. We'll tell them after the break.
After the break.
Yeah, we're Baldy and the Blonde. We're here every Wednesday at 4, trying to just keep up with the tyranny.
Baldy and the Blonde are back. I'm Tom Coates. I am remote today. In studio is the great blonde part of this equation, Michelle Godin.
Hello.
Michelle, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
In the first segment, we were listening to a few clips of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer at basically a commie conference in London last month. A bunch of control freaks that would love to have control of the globe. That was basically what their whole agenda was, and we're about to hear their solution for this horrible immigration problem that they caused.
Yep.
So,
and why are we playing this? Because it was a conference that a lot of U.S. lefties went to. Oh, yeah. And they're all in agreement as to how the problem that they caused by encouraging an invasion of our countries to destabilize them, they've got a solution. And here it is. Drum roll. Okay, here we go.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
Okay. Well, that sounds fair.
It is. Problem, reaction, solution. The government creates a problem, the people react, and the government offers a so-called solution to the problem that they created.
That is correct. They do it all the time.
Yes, they get us begging for their so-called solutions. Although nobody's begging for this one.
Imagine a digital ID. So that means now the government has complete and absolute control over you. And for example, well, what's the big deal? It's just an ID. No. It's tied to all of your accounts. So, for example, it's the Chinese social credit system, basically. It's tied to your bank account. So let's see, you've been a bad boy, Tom. You posted some ugly memes about the Muslims who beat the hell out of you. They're walking free, and you're in jail for saying that they were mean to you. So because you've been ugly, now your bank account is going to be seized, and there will be maybe fines taken out, or perhaps your gasoline allotment for the month is reduced, or your carbon credits are reduced, because they can control everything. And that's also why you see that the government is hell-bent on eliminating cash. So as an aside, use it while you can.
Well, okay, now to be clear, all those things you mentioned, I do agree that is their goal.
Yes.
That's not their stated goal.
Not yet. It's coming.
Exactly.
And it's been stated in many other places. It's just this time they're taking an incremental approach, in my opinion, by just starting with the digital ID. But they know the rest of it, because we know they've called for it before. They just couldn't do it. Even in the U.S., they did, I believe it's called TIA, Total Information Awareness, and they almost got it through, but somebody caught on to it and squelched it, and that was about 10 years ago. They're always trying to do this. So, okay. And here's his...
They figured out...
Go ahead.
It does have to be incremental, and in this case, they're saying we need to introduce a digital ID to give you the right to work. And if you don't have a digital ID, by the way, it has to be on your phone. So now everybody has to get a smartphone.
Oh, I didn't know that. It has to be on the phone? Oh,
it has to be on your phone. And if you don't have a digital ID, what he's saying is, well, you can't work. But earlier in the speech, we heard him say that they've come across the border and then working in the underground shadow economy.
Right.
Well, that underground shadow economy is still going to be there after the digital ID rolls out. Those people are still going to be working.
And they won't have a digital ID. And as usual,
and they won't have a digital ID.
Of course, the solutions are not really for the criminals or the illegals. It's for us, right? So those guys will still be illegal. They'll still be in the corners. They'll still be killing people.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And they won't have a digital ID.
Yeah,
and they won't get in trouble for it. But you You will,
They're not going to put
Mr.
their tail between
Englishman.
their legs. They're not going to put their tail between their legs and go back home.
That's right.
Oh, shucks, I don't have a digital ID. I guess I got to go. No. They just keep doing what they're doing in
That's
the
it.
shadow economy.
And just remember,
Stop.
Pete Buttigieg and JB Pritzker were both there participating in this conference. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and plenty of advisors to other politicians in, in D.C. Yeah.
Yeah, got people that were very instrumental in the censorship of Americans.
Yeah.
Who are not allowed to say certain things on Facebook or X, and the only reason we have any free speech right now is because of Elon Musk. So here's his conclusion, and then we will move on from this commie conference.
Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes.
I wonder what that means. Okay. Root causes,
I wonder
Tom.
what the root causes
Where have we heard about root causes? Who was the czar of root causes in America? I think that was Miss Kamala Harris, who was the border czar, who said that, no, her job was to find out the root causes for illegals. All right. So
the root cause of our problems.
Yeah.
They come from Washington, D.C. and the UK Parliament.
Yeah, that's
the root cause. You need only look in the mirror.
Working together. So we bring this up just to say that keep your eyes peeled because, this is where they're headed with us. This is what they want to do.
And yes, while the conference was in the UK and he was talking, at least that in that part of his speech, because it was a much, much longer speech, that part was just about digital ID in the UK. Make no mistake, there was plenty of Americans there, including the two politicians we mentioned, Pritzker and Buttigieg, and plenty other Americans who are advisors to other U.S. politicians in D.C. This is what these leftist control freaks want to bring to America. It's obvious. They certainly didn't raise any objections.
Correct. They did not. They were thrilled with it. And, just some of the other people, Patrick Gaspard, he literally he works for, or did for a long time, the Open Society of George Soros. I mean, it's always the same people. So, and we're not going to talk about this today, but I just still wonder, is it even safe for people who have expressed themselves as we have on, the radio for years, in Facebook and other social media posts, Twitter, etc. Is it even safe to travel to Western Europe anymore? France, Germany, England? I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say that because I have some.
I know.
I love to go to Europe, but
that.
I don't know.
There's precedent for that. People being arrested for things that they said and tweeted or whatever they call it anymore while they were in the U.S. I think in that case it was a British citizen, but that person did it while they're out of the country.
That's right.
In the U.S. and when they got home, got arrested.
That was the comedian who was met by 5 cops at the airport.
Right.
Yep.
But then the question is, what if an American citizen does that and violates British law while out of the country? I would not be wanting to take that chance.
I'm not taking it. I don't want to be the test case ever. So, I'm sorry to say, I guess I'll just travel in the U.S. because fortunately I still have some places to go that I haven't been. But I wonder if anybody out there, to my knowledge, nobody has been arrested yet for say you're an American and you said something here like I say every day, that would subject me to arrest in England.
We talked about a guy last week who's in jail in the U.S. for a tweet he made. He's still in jail 38 days later in Tennessee.
Yes, he is. And I think he should not be. But even though I disagree with him, I support his right to say those things. And this is Baldy and the Blonde, and we'll be back after the break. This is Baldy and the Blonde, and we are back. And we're going to talk in this segment about Bill Gates and his latest discussion of climate change. And just to remind everybody what Bill's been saying for the last, 30 years, we all need to die. We breathe too much air. The cows need to wear diapers. And we all should be wearing gas masks because carbon dioxide, which is indeed what makes plants grow, is poison. Anyway, let's just remind ourselves, this is a quote from 2021 when Bill Gates was interviewed with GeekWire, which is a technology website.
This is a huge problem, and it'll be tougher than anything humanity's ever done. And only by staying constant in working on this over the next 30 years do we have a chance to do it.
Well, Tom.
Okay, that sums it up. That sums it up perfectly. His position, as you said, over the last generation.
Yeah.
That few little sentences really does sum it up. He says this is a huge problem, the most difficult task humanity's ever faced, and it will take constant work over the next 30 years if we're going to have any chance. That's a pretty good summation of his position, right?
And yes, and many people believe him. And by the way, including all the people at the little communist conference that we covered in the first two segments. That was one of the topics.
Okay.
I guess they haven't. Well, anyway, go ahead.
His position changed.
Did it change? You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. Yesterday, he posted an essay. It's titled "3 Tough Truths About Climate." What I want everyone at COP30 to know. COP30 is a reference to, there's next month in Brazil, there's a climate conference of a bunch of commies there. I'm sure it'll be another bunch of commies too. But he posted this specifically for them, and I don't know what his motivation was. Maybe he saw the light. Maybe he's got another angle. I don't know. But his entire essay was basically wanting to inform the people attending that conference next month in Brazil. And here's a couple of quotes, very interesting quotes.
It's crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. I shouldn't be laughing, but this is insane. Okay, go ahead.
He says, although climate change will have serious consequences, particularly for people in the poorest countries, it will not lead to humanity's demise. People will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future.
I mean,
now the left is coming unglued just because he's saying we're not all going to die and that people will actually be able to live and thrive in their homes. The left can't believe that he would even say that we're not all going to die.
I kind of can't believe it either, not because I buy the climate scam, but I can't believe that the leading lefty who wants to put diapers on cows because of cow gas has changed his position. It's
possible that he's sincere. I mean, it would be weird that he would be sincere because we're not used to seeing that, but and not just out of him specifically, but about any of the so-called elites. But maybe he's had a change of heart, or again, maybe he's got another angle. But okay. So then another interesting quote. He says, "This is a chance to refocus on the metric that should count even more than emissions and temperature change, improving lives." What's crazy is the left come unglued about that he, how dare he want to improve lives? Okay.
They want to kill us, that's why.
Right.
They want to kill us.
Our chief goal should be to prevent suffering, particularly for those in the toughest conditions who live in the world's poorest countries. Nothing at all controversial about that. It makes perfect sense, and the left has come unglued because he's saying no longer is the sky falling, and that we should pay attention to poverty-stricken people who have immediate needs in these poor countries, and not focus on this abstract long-term thing that might someday be harmful when right now they don't have clean water, food, antibiotics, right?
And one of the main reasons that poor countries are poor is because of the draconian refusal to allow them electricity.
Yeah, absolutely. Of all the controls.
Yes, and all the controls on their ability to climb out of poverty, which you do through, modern means, clean water, electricity, etc. So this is a shocking development, in my opinion. And I agree that the left is flipping out to the extent that, to my understanding, CNN actually omitted part of the quote from Gates. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, and that's a good point. They actually did. So they wrote an article or an editorial, and they called his essay shocking and stunning. And
I agree with that. That's a rarity.
But the only quotes they had were the ones that I just read. They called those shocking and stunning when he's just saying things that make perfect sense. But now here's one that they left out the most controversial, at least through their eyes, statement. And I think they left it out because they don't want anyone reading that Bill Gates thinks the following. He said that people will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future. I read that earlier, but the CNN article did not include that.
Let me say that again. Bill Gates, who has been screaming about how we need to reduce population, cows must wear diapers, cut down. He even talked about cutting down the trees. I forgot about this one in the Amazon, and burying them because they emitted too much carbon. So this same man is now, whoops, never mind. It's going to have serious consequences, but not going to lead to our demise. And furthermore, what was the second part? Yeah, people will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future. Well, now that is, that's shocking. There are no newspapers anymore. I certainly don't buy it, but that's a front page headline.
It is, and
to use a dinosaur quote.
They left that out. They didn't want anybody knowing that Bill Gates said that because really, what he's really saying is all those climate models be damned.
Yes.
That's what he's really saying. He says that he didn't say that, but that's what he said without saying that.
And they did go to the whore of all whores, Michael Mann, who, in my opinion, is a scam artist, the hockey stick bust. The guy, has been busted with, let's just say some scandals involving climate change allegations. And he says, Gates, with regard to what Gates is now saying, there is no greater threat to developing nations than the climate crisis. He's got this all backwards. Well, yeah, you've had
no greater threat.
You've lost one of your leading propagandists and fundraisers. So I'm just thinking now, I really and truly this popped into my head, but maybe Bill has some upcoming issues where he needs to seem like he cares more about poor people. Just saying.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that, but you heard me earlier. I suspected all along he's got another angle. I just don't know what it is.
There's an angle.
But you're right.
There's got to be something. There's a jury veneer out there, and one day maybe he's worried that he needs to seem like he cares more about poor people. So now suddenly, don't worry. Everybody's going to be fine. Climate change isn't going to cause any problems for the foreseeable future. And don't worry, you'll be able to thrive. Live and thrive. In most places on Earth. That's incredible.
I want to take another look at that Michael Mann quote, and I do have it in front of me. He says, there is no greater threat to developing nations than the climate crisis, which is absurd. You don't think in the immediate term clean water, antibiotics, good clean food, medicine, electricity. You don't think that lack of those things is a greater threat?
Of course, Michael Mann knows that, Tom, but his entire, his grants, his everything comes from the climate scam because that's how money is doled out. You and I interviewed a guy, I'm going to leave his name out of it, but I have the clip, who was at Tulane, and he said, climate change is the greatest scam since, I can't remember, some elephant kid in the 1900s, and also, it was as bad as 2 + 2 = 5 because the government says so. And he pointed out that you cannot get funding as a university professor, as most of it comes from the Faucis of the world, unless you are Mr. Climate Change is going to kill us. So people who did not believe that were, they suffered because they couldn't get any funding for their research. So it was left to people who were retired who didn't need to depend on the government for money, for funding, to be able to say, like that guy from Tulane, that it's a scam. And so I don't know what's going on with Bill Gates that he would suddenly say this and deny that climate change is a problem at this point. That's my summary. Those are not his words. But something's up. And it is very interesting. So this just happened yesterday. Keep your eyes and ears peeled, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see where that goes. And we have a 1 minute and 30 warning, Tom.
All right. What's interesting, though, is he didn't just write the essay for the general public or the world. He specifically said it was directed to the people at the upcoming climate conference, and it's like he wants them to know this.
Yep.
And so we'll never know what's going on because again, I don't believe he's sincere. It would be great if he were.
We'll
it's
see.
just interesting that he specifically directed it toward them.
Welcome back to Baldy and The Blonde. We are here every Wednesday at 4. What we're going to talk about right now is something that just came out in the last few days. The House Oversight Committee has actually been apparently working overtime and has uncovered what was going on in the White House when Biden was drooling, eating ice cream, and napping all day. It turns out that some cash was involved in the cover-up. Tom?
Yeah, a lot of cash.
Lots of cash.
So we got a clip from, this is testimony of last month, a guy named Mike Donilon. He's a campaign consultant and longtime advisor to Joe Biden. So he testified in front of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform last month. And I think it was just yesterday the committee released the video. And we got about a 30-second clip from that.
Yeah. And I want to say that the clip really goes on and on. We just don't want to play the whole thing, but it's like pulling teeth to get this guy to talk. But he finally admits, oh yeah, there's some money involved. And who is this guy, Tom?
Well, okay, so he's been known Biden forever. He's an attorney and a political strategist. But I do want to add this note. So we're going to hear about a 30-second clip, and he talks about some money he got or a bonus that he could have received. Prior to the clip, he testifies about that he was paid $4 million as a consultant to the Joe Biden campaign. But he said that money was guaranteed, whether Biden won, lost, pulled out, or whatever. But then what we're going to hear is the follow-up questioning about a potential bonus that he could have received. And it's hard to understand the amount when he says it, but it's $4 million is the bonus.
A $4 million bonus. If
Biden got elected.
If Biden got reelected. Yeah.
So he pushed him to stay in. So let's go ahead and let's hear that.
Received a bonus depending on the way the campaign went. Was that a possibility?
How the campaign went.
Were there any circumstances in which you would have received a bonus?
Yes, it was.
What were those circumstances?
That Joe Biden would have been reelected president of the United States.
What would the bonus have been?
I believe it would have been $4 million.
In addition to the $4 million that you were already paid.
Yes.
Received a...
Right.
I believe it
$4 million?
would have been $4 million. Like he's not sure. It's just pocket change. You know, as long as Joe got reelected. Well, what was really important to get Joe reelected was that nobody know that we had a president who was non-compos mentis, as they say in the law, and eating ice cream and oatmeal and drooling all day. So I guess for all I know, Mike Donilon was one of the people running the country. I don't know. But he had $4 million on the line to keep the dementia quiet. He and many others.
That's a good way to put it. He had $4 million on the line. And that's just one guy we know of.
That's it.
So when you're throwing around that kind of money, you have a lot of incentive to convince Joe, eating Joe, to stay in the race and to convince everybody else, cover it up the best you can, that he shouldn't be in the race. Of course, they failed because we all knew anybody could see it within 10 minutes of seeing Biden in public.
Well,
that he wasn't capable.
It really was the debate, though. I don't think I mean, he got away with. I think he was demented in the first race. 2020.
It was a debate, but it was also,
and that's why we never saw him.
The debate.
So
everybody knew. All right, what else we got?
So now, it's a tough call. But anyway, wait, before we move on from the Oversight Committee, it turns out that those guys are really, really exercising oversight for a change. And today, the House Oversight Committee deemed all of Biden's executive actions, including and especially pardons, null and void, that were performed by White House staff and signed by an auto pen. So those things kind of go together, don't they? Yeah.
Okay, that's a newsflash for me. I did not know that.
Yes, that just happened.
Okay, so...
I mean, as far as it came across my screen right before I left the office, I printed it out at 2:58 p.m. So The committee demanded an immediate investigation by Attorney General Pam Bondi, and here is the quote. "We are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to conduct a thorough review of these executive actions and scrutinize key Biden aides who took the Fifth Amendment to hide their participation in the cover-up. Aha. The D.C. Board of Medicine must also review the actions taken by Biden's doctor to hide his true condition." I mean, you know, now it's accountability time, says Representative Comer. Make it happen. So,
Wow.
it's pretty serious because don't you think Adam Schiff and maybe Hunter and some of these other people are having tense moments right now? I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's something really tense besides moments to those guys. It's puckering.
I didn't know how to say that politely, but that is the right way.
I'm not so worried about being diplomatic. But
in the whole J6 committee, oh man,
we're just not used to actual justice.
No, we're so used to being denied.
You're right, but they get to get away with everything, while you and I can't put a single toe out of line, right? And you know, and it's not. I mean, there's plenty of people seeking retribution, I'm sure. I don't look at it that way. I look at it like anybody who was doing anything illegal should pay the price.
Hell yeah.
And not because they were a political enemy of the current administration, but because they did something wrong.
Well, and also, I have to say, I will add to that and say I have a little bit of I do want a little bit of a pound of flesh because they hijacked this country with abuse of the justice system. And as a lawyer, I have never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable. So, yes, I would love to see Adam Schiff have to spend many a night puckering. And, you know, also the J6 committee, which was a disgrace. So, yeah, but they deserve it because it looks like they broke the law, right? So
yeah, I guess, and you're right. I guess, just said differently, I just hope that they're able to make it clear that they are doing this because they committed illegal acts.
Well, that's
and
it.
not because they're against the precedent.
Well, the problem, of course, is the
matters.
press will report it as. And just remember, folks, when this is retribution, that may be true, but it's also because you broke the law. It's not because you were ugly to the Donalds. You know, it's because you broke the law